know at least 4, if not 5, people brought in some gear. So maybe we'll just start. We'll start here and we'll just go clockwise. And if you've got something, you can come up, use the mic, kind of talk about your equipment, how it's helped, what problem maybe it solved, if you had a problem that spurred using it, and then maybe if it is accomplishing that, solving that problem for you, and then do you find it advantageous or how you use it in your home brewing process? Would you mind starting?
No, that's fine.
Certainly.
Who's he?
Thanks, Neil.
This is Jay. You want me to clear off the chair?
So I just kind of brought this thing we put together to brew. We were brewing out of a single keg that was cut out, and chill our beer. We had just a copper coil. We put in a ice bath, and we chilled our beer. But I ended up making this thing, and it's all one unit with a milk crate, and it's really handy for storage. And what we have now, and everything fits in this keg when it gets stored away too. We've got the hose that comes from the boil kettle, and it goes into a pump here, and then we can take the beer, the wort, right through the pump, and we can either put it through the hop rocket here, or we can bypass it if we don't want to do the hops, and we just take this and it goes right to the pump, and then it goes into the wort chiller where it's cooled, and then it comes out of the wort chiller, and we've got a stone right here with a hose that goes to an oxygen tank, and then comes out to the fermenter. So all in one little thing that we could just take and clean and put on the shelf. We've got a pump. We've got a hop infuser, we've got a chiller and an oxygenator, and it has made our brew day go so much faster once we started using this thing about 2 years ago.
Are you metering your oxygen?
Pardon me?
Are you metering your oxygen?
We've got a regulator on there, and we put it to about 4 pounds, and we just kind of watch the bubbles through the hose, and we might oxygenate during maybe half of the time is all.
Okay.
So no, there's no meter per se, or we don't have it. We just kind of put it on and oxygenate all at once. Whereas before we were chilling with the wort chiller, and then we had a wand we put in for the oxygen, and it just was a long and tedious process. And now we just put it through this thing, and everything folds up. It goes in the crate, like I say, when we're done. And it's a handy little unit.
How is it easy to clean?
It's pretty easy to clean. We just put the pump in a bucket of Sanny when we're done. And first we spew out all the beer, with Sanny, and then we just recirculate Sanny in it, and we pull it apart every few batches, and clean up the stone and clean up the pump and that sort of thing. But it's pretty good. We run Sanny before and after every batch.
You could probably just run beer line cleaner through it if you wanted to also.
And we could too,
Get
yeah.
a real thorough clean.
But it comes right apart. You can replace the hoses, and we use our old chill line, copper line now. We'll run the hose through that now to chill down our water, like in the summer when it's real hot. Like we just brewed a couple or last week, and it was still warm, the water temperature. So we put ice in the bucket and run the hose through that now, and it chills it down.
Nice.
Okay.
And your rinse out.
Thanks.
Who owns that milk crate?
We found it.
It says thou shalt not steal.
Big story. Sticking to it.
All right. Are you ready to come up?
And this is for high def beer.
Okay, so I built this just because I could, not because we had a problem.
That's always the best reason.
And actually, we can sit there and watch it turn while we drink our beer. It just made our day a little bit more pleasant when we were brewing. But it's a 24-volt gearbox. I had the blades made up at work, all stainless steel, and it does a good job. We sit there and watch it turn away while we sit and drink beer.
Does it go like at 6,000 RPM?
No. We should slow this thing down to a crawl. Originally, I started with an old gearbox I had at work. That was the original idea. And I bought a Harbor Freight right-angle drill, and we couldn't get that to run slow enough. So I found this 24-volt. It was about $120, and it runs at a real creep, just enough to keep everything mixed up. Moving. No outside oxygen.
What's that, sit on top of a keg or something?
Yeah, we have a Hermes system, 3 kegs, and this one just goes in the mash, churns away while we sit there and drink beer.
Do you have to fasten it down, or does it like?
Yeah, I got one hook that goes in the one, just the one
gotcha.
eyelet, and that's enough to keep it.
Do you let that run the whole time?
No, not all the time. We just turn it on for a little bit and then sit
Get
down,
everything low.
turn it back off. Like I say, it runs really, really slow.
They turn it on for one beer, and when one beer is done,
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
all right, so always better turn on. Timing is everything.
Timing is perfect, exactly.
And then one day when I was walking through Home Depot looking at stuff, I found this burner from, I think it's Charbroil, and I cut the top out, and that's our sparge arm. So it's all stainless steel, doesn't rust, and it works really well.
That's awesome.
What's the water just flow in the top and then just drain out the little?
Yeah, we just hook it in, I've got a quick connect on it, it sits over the top and just trickles out. I got another valve on it so we can turn it down.
That's awesome.
Do you mount it
So
anywhere?
it's all about repurposing. I mean, you find stuff, you gotta find use for
Do you
it.
mount it anywhere, or does it just sit on top of the grain bed?
No, we have an arm that comes up, I've got a T on the outside, and it comes across, and we just clamp it on when we want it. It goes on after we pull this out. It's just finding a purpose for something.
Yeah,
Boom.
homebrew.
Okay. I think. Yep, Pete brought one.
That's a phone.
It is a phone.
Let's get a pull the calculator app.
This is my mobile copy of Beersmith. It's one of the most important tools I have. I used to do recipe design on it. You can. It's a little clunky. I do it on the laptop now and just upload it over, and then it runs my brew day timer. It's got a bunch of other stuff that you can do with it, conversions, tools, whatever. I use it at work. I use it at home when I'm brewing. I couldn't brew without this thing. It's amazing. If your software doesn't have a mobile app, I'd consider giving Beersmith a shot. They'll give you a 1-month preview. I don't work for them. I really don't care if you do or don't, but it's made my life real easy. I also have another 1 or 2, and like if I go to the store, I can change my recipe on the fly if they don't have something I want, blah, blah, blah. I've got one other app that I use that I really, really like. It's called Mr. Multi. It's a yeast calculator. You can use this app for free if you access it on your computer. I gave the guy that built it $5 because I wanted to use it on my phone. And I just go to the store, input the size of my recipe, bada bing, bada bang. It tells me how many packets of yeast to buy. There's a million ways you could mod it too, and it's the simplest thing in the world, so it's really easy to do exactly what you want. If you're not using a brewing app on your phone, I'm not going to say you're a fool because everybody gets to do what they want, but you're a fool.
It's always fun until you get electrocuted using electric shit around all that water.
I don't recommend it, but you can drop this, it's safe, you can drop this into your kettle, and as long as you don't jump in after it, it's fine, it'll be fine. I mean, your phone will be dead, but
Kill the phone, not you.
Beersmith 3 is a good upgrade too.
Yeah.
I like that.
And the app, once I paid for it, they've been updating it for free, so I paid for it once. It's not like Beersmith where you have to go buy it every time they do serious version changes.
So, seeing as he brought up the phone app, I'm gonna bring up the phone app that I found out, me and Robin found out about on one of our road trips. It's not a free app, it's $1.99 at the store. But it's called Brewery Map, and I wish I could just put this up on the thing and show you. But basically what happens is you open this thing up and you say, create a road trip. If you had to put a starting address and an ending address, it's like your GPS, it'll show you different routes, you choose your route, and then it'll show you every brewery along the way. Brewery map. Yeah, and you can actually, by default, it'll show you. It'll show you every brewery within 5 miles of your route. But you can also tell it to show you can widen that search area out. Does it map sobriety checkpoints too?
That's the other question. I'll never get where I was going.
So that one costs $10.
This is
from my house to Pittsburgh.
That was Saturday?
You would never make Pittsburgh.
That was Saturday, wasn't it?
So that's
Long ride.
now you know how the bus trip is.
Not necessarily, but yeah. My house is
I didn't know what the topic was, sorry, I did not read my newsletter. But if anybody, we brew in one of those big igloo coolers, on the big orange construction coolers, and we started getting stuck mashes about 3 years ago. Trying different recipes, really pushing capacity of the mash tun, etc. We got one of those brew in the bags, BIAB, but that particular brand has been really helpful. We don't do traditional brew in a bag brewing and then pull it out and all that. We just sparge, but just putting that into the mash tun, we haven't had a problem since. We're still preventative with some things when we use a lot of wheat percentage, more than 50% wheat. We're going to throw some more ice hulls and things in there. But that brew in a bag has made runoff a lot easier. So anybody that's had any issues with that, I highly recommend using that product.
So Carrie, you just line your ton with the brew in a bag?
We do.
Okay.
Yeah, and then it fits they make them to, you can measure any cooler, they will make them to spec for any vessel you have, but we have a very traditional, the igloo is pretty set standards.
Screw the top down and all that?
So what we do, because it's meant to be tight, the edges go down and around to hold tight while I'm mashing in with the mash paddle, so it doesn't get in the way. And then, yeah, we just flip hit our mash temp, flip the corners in, spin it on top, and then pull it out. You're going to lose maybe what, a quarter cup, half a cup around the outsides. So put a towel down, but.
Yeah, they make
it's really nice.
rectangular coolers too.
Yeah, it was amazing. We ended up chatting with the guys a couple years ago at NHC, and he's like, literally send us a picture, the brand name, and the dimensions of the cooler, and we can build it to anything, or vessel. They can do it to anything. I mean, Pete, do you still do the lift up brewing?
Yeah, I've gone through a couple of them, but I'm using a smaller burner now, so I'm hoping to not melt anymore.
Char it.
No, I would like melt through the handles as they hung over, because I tend to have a burner on and off while I'm mashing.
Okay.
So, because I'm not using a cooler, so I lose time.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did have to replace ours after
the
3 or 4
fine.
years because, again, I mean, we push mash tun capacity all the time, so we really beat the shit out of that bag at the bottom. Again, metal on, mash paddle. We did sew it up, with some nice nylon thread a couple of times, but yeah, eventually it becomes like, okay, just buy another one. But yeah, I've been very happy with that product. It saved us a lot of time and headaches, and I was just thinking back to processes that have made our brew life a little easier.
Bringing it.
So I just picked this up this summer. So this is the Anvil brew bucket. It's a nice 7.5 gallon fermenter. The hole on top is the same size as a regular carboy, so I was able to reuse basically all the things I had for my carboys. So
How much?
Is the carboy
this, I think the retail is 130. And it's, I got it at HomebrewCon, or basically bought it that weekend because there was a coupon at their booth for 25% off. So I saved a few bucks on it. So with this, with the thermal well, I can basically keep temperature control in my chest freezer with that. It just kind of clamps on a little. There's a silicone ring on the inside of the lid, just to help things touch. It doesn't stay airtight, but it's pretty close. It's not any different from a bucket, but one of the cool features was that the spigot itself kind of works as a as basically a dip, as an arm, so you can twist it around. So as you're transferring out, you can start up and then work your way down, so that you're minimizing the true pickup as you're doing your transfers. Now, since that hole on top is the same size as a carboy, I was able to then basically use a regular stopper, and this is a stainless steel, these are the carboy caps, or carbonators, and basically use this with a little bit of pressure of, say, like 2 to 4 psi, and then I'm able to push out. There's more of it, I think, is gravity feed, but at least I'm keeping a blanket of CO2 on the beer as I'm transferring the keg. So I'm able to do a pretty decent CO2, pressurized transfer in this, and it's a lot safer than trying to do it in a 6.5 gallon glass carboy. So, and then on the other side of that, on my keg, is this spooning valve. So basically, you can find the parts online. I bought all these things individually, but it's a T. It's a couple little neat pieces, so you can get your CO2 disconnect on there. And then this is actually a valve. You can't really go on the numbers on it, but at least I can dial this in, so it's still pushing as beer is going into the keg. I'm hearing gas slowly come out of this valve, so I'm keeping that keg under CO2 as I'm transferring on top of it. You can also use this if you wanted to do, a regular traditional spunding carbonation. Say if you want to do a lager and you have the space, it does stick up a little bit, so you've got that much more headspace you need to have. But if you could, say, lager in a keg with this on it, you could then naturally carbonate based on with the little bit of Play-Doh you have left in there. So,
have you dry hopped with this? And
no, I haven't. I've made a Helles and I made a porter, and neither of us I've dry hopped. But there is enough space in there, and it's a little concave. It's not a full cone, but it does well enough that, and with the way the pickup tube is, you don't have to worry about it too much. I mean, I think you could do quite a bit before you're going to get
dry hop tubes.
Yeah.
Like, would that fit through the the hole on the top, or would you have to?
I wouldn't worry
up?
about that as much because I'd be above the true pile, and I would just keep that, and I wouldn't go down that much. once I started to see that start to get a little cloudy, then I wouldn't go any farther.
Scott, are you talking about wrapping off or putting?
Now, one of the issues this does have is
So
that
I
the
think you
spigot
would-
is like
like-
half inch instead of like 3/8. So this is a little thicker than it should be, so I had to use a wider tube. And so this is what I basically used then to transfer to the keg. So I had to use something wider than we would use with a regular. So what I did to make sure that this side was a little tighter was I took some 3/8 ID hose, like an inch worth, and I shoved it inside there. So basically that keeps at least the disconnect side tighter, and then this would fit onto, the beer, the kettle side. So it works. I would like the walls of this to be a little thicker, but it's cool. It's fine. It seems to be working great. It is a lot lighter than a glass carboy is.
Handles.
It's got handles. It's so picking it up and putting it down into the chest freezer, it's a little easier to work with.
No
It won't
brew
break
balling.
if you drop it.
It probably won't break. It might dent if I drop it, but I could probably push that dent back out.
They're a breeze to clean too.
It is a lot easier to clean. I did buy a keg washer, the Mark's keg washer, like last winter, and yeah, it sits on that just fine. And 20 minutes, half an hour later, it's all cleaned out. One of the other things I brought that I think everyone who's using a pump should know about is having something like this, especially if you're working with pumps outside or, where you don't have, a shock, like you're in the bathroom or something like that, or a kitchen.
GFI.
Yeah, if you don't have GFI on your pump, you can get one of these and just put this onto, an extension cord, and then run the pump off of this. And then it has a switch on it, basically to test the GFI, but it also works as a nice, easy pump switch.
Safety first.
So, yeah, safety first. You're not shocking yourself while you're playing around with water and pumps out in the garage or wherever you're brewing.
Where's the fun in that?
Is that a pretty robust valve, the way it swirls, that it won't leak from turning it?
Yeah, it's kind of manufactured that way so that there's, it looks like a regular valve, only they told you to put the, like the washers opposite where you would expect them to be, and it seems to twist and stay watertight.
Like a shark bite.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
So if you look online, since it's a Blickman product, even Anvil's their
That's Blick-
cheaper line. It's Anvil, but Anvil is Blickman's like Toyota to his Acura line, right? Yeah, that all.
Same company, two brands.
Right. So it's like, yeah. So it's a lower end that they came out a few years ago. They're basically this, they're slightly different things, but they all work well. But you don't see a change in their prices very often. So the fact that I was at HomebrewCon, I got a coupon, I used it because I wasn't expecting to ever see that again. Maybe till next HomebrewCon. Any questions? All right.